baby.
In and out like 3 times on video.
So was it a gnome?
They had 20 years.
Oh, you're kidding
Wow,
me.
that's pretty cool.
Oh my God, I love
It
this.
sounds like something from childhood.
Yeah. What about what you have happen? Anything?
To be honest, you know the room with the bedroom for the little spot screen bed, right?
I haven't
Yeah.
had it yet.
Yeah, I actually touched it and I felt like super lightheaded right after. And it just really stuck. Everything else, yeah, like I felt tightness in my chest. I don't know if that's like a residual thing or something, but yeah, that stuck with me because I was like a skeptic before that. So
What's it ring?
yeah.
So that's like
The bed on the 3rd floor,
Yes.
that was actually the only bed that's to the hospital.
It's a real, yeah, real
Oh,
bad, right?
cool.
It wasn't brought in, it was here
Yeah.
in the neighborhood.
So it's like-
So it's got residual on it then.
Yeah, yeah.
that was like place memory
That is cool.
when you picked up stuff.
Well, thank you guys for having us. We appreciate it, especially last minute when I booked this. But I'm excited to be here because I've heard a lot of great things about it. It's my first time here. As you see, it's everybody else's pretty much first time too. So what can we expect? Can you tell us about the history and some of the things that happened here?
Brief history. First, I'll just go through the different lives of the building. We started out as the Coles County Pork Farm. That was from 1870 to about 1959. And pork farm is more or less the earliest form of welfare. You owe debts to society, anything like that, you were sent to a pork farm to work along. Fully functioning farm, at one point 260 plus acres, all kinds of outbuildings, all kinds of crops, fruit orchard, vegetable gardens, dairy cattle, beef cattle. We were self-sustained for the most part. So in the early 60s, when what we now know as auto welfare came to be, the land was divided off, sold off, and the building was purchased, and it was turned into a private psychiatric hospital. We were never an asylum, we were always just a hospital. More or less the best way to tell the difference on that is we treated with restraint and menace. Didn't really do a whole lot of other experimental procedures. We ran as a private psychiatric hospital, then we became state-run, and all of this was pretty much just based on lack of funding. That is where everything's changed over. So when we became a hospital, that's where the name Ashmore Estates came from. That is stuck with the building for the rest of its lives now. After the psychiatric hospital, we turned into a home for developmentally disabled nursing home. We ran as that until the mid-80s. 1986, the building was actually shut down permanently. It was one of those cases, relocate the residents, staffed, clocked out, walked out, everything was left behind other than their personal belongings. At that point, we sat empty for nearly 20 years. We were vandalized, every window in this building was gone. All of the records from all of the lives of the building up to that point were still in the building and were either destroyed by the elements or, I'm sure some things was probably done themselves. There was no such thing as Hitler back then. In the late 90s, a gentleman did purchase it with the idea that he wanted to turn this kind of into a place for him to live and also a hotel, B&B type thing. Sadly for this person, as fast as he could put money in, vandals would come and take it back out. So he gave up the dream, and again, we sat empty until 2006. We had a gentleman purchase it, and at that point, he turned it into a haunted attraction. Ran that until about 2012. In 2013, the building was purchased again by a gentleman who thought he was going to make a takeover the haunted attraction. At that part, the state of Illinois had decided they were going to make all kinds of fire code changes, and it was just not a lot of money to change that, and so the money was spent on the building again. And then, come 2014, the building was up for sale again. Robin comes and checks it out. I've seen his picture, and I can tell you, I can turn around and walk out of this building. It was, wow, these hallways that you can walk down 3 or 4 people wide now, yeah, you had to sidestep some of them, you get through them. Half these rooms you couldn't even walk into. Because that is just, it was deteriorating in front of everybody's eyes. He decided to take the chance on her. Bought her, got to work on it, kind of had a plan in his mind. It was going to take him a few years because he was just planning on it being him and his sons, and most of just him. He purchased it in May of 2014. In September of 2014, we had our first couple of investigations in the building. We had so many people from the paranormal community, which I will more or less call paranormal family, come out and get this building up and going and doing what we're doing today. Private investigations, public investigations, we've had weddings, kids' birthday parties, you name it. We've had all kinds of fun in here. A little bit of the things you can expect. Keep in mind, during the Boar Farm, we had a mix of criminals, young women and children. Think of the things, the tragedy you hear about with psychiatric hospitals. What staff does to patients, what patients do to each other, staff to staff, just all that kind of dark history. Same thing with nursing homes and all that. So keep that all in mind. We do have a dark history here too. Sadly, a lot of stuff cannot be backed up with documentation anymore. One, because we lost some of our history and we sat empty for so long. We did have some historians that were tireless to get information, but it's we're not mentioned a whole lot. This is where the unwanted people were, out there in the middle of nowhere. So keep that in mind. I can tell you there are over 200 confirmed deaths in this building. And that's through all the lives in the building. And shadow figures, stuff like that. But I don't want to put too much in your heads because I want you guys to experience this building. I will be around. Robin will be around for a little while. We'll probably be sitting outside as long as we're not getting rained on.
Right?
I might be out there dancing in the rain. To find me, but, so, you know, if you're experiencing stuff and maybe you want to talk about and get a little more confirmation, look us up. I'll confirm or deny stuff at that point, but I don't want to put stuff in your head right now. But like you heard Jim's stories that has already been here and stuff, this building's got a story to tell. Sit back, listen, enjoy, keep your eyes open. And just welcome to Ashmore Estates. We're glad you're here. We'd love to share this building. This is why we do this. So.
Thank you.
The old building out here, the building's basically 2 different buildings. There's the old building that was built in 1916. It was actually, the cool story I think about that, right, the coolest thing that I found through research is that one was in, the original building that was out here was in bad shape. And there's actually a lady that came down from the state of Illinois in 1915. So you think, we don't think anything about it now, but that's over 100 years ago. Some lady came down and said, this place is horrible, that the animals are living in a better condition building than the people are. They're living in their own, they're laying in their own feces, there's rats, vermin, everything running off of this building. You need to do something about it in Coles County. And so this woman had enough pull to have that building shut down and a new one built. So it's kind of cool when you figure out 100 years ago that happened. I Sue mentioned too is that we've had a lot of help. I mean, when I bought this place, I live 2 hours away from here. So it's not like I live around the corner that I come over my stuff. It's 2 hours away, and you know, when I bought this, I didn't tell anybody I was buying it. I had about a select group of about 10 people that knew about it. And so I sat out front and posted a picture on Facebook. I own another building that's on it also that we live in. And it's the only thing cooler than owning one haunted location is owning 2. and I took a picture of this building and my phone blew up. So I live, in fact, Chris is up in Chicago. I live in an old building that's actually had an encounter with John Wayne Gacy. So I live in an old movie theater. Yeah. But yeah, it's been kind of crazy. But we've had numerous encounters with him in our building. So just another story, but it has nothing to do with that. But yeah, I think you guys have a good time. Like Sue said, you sit back and listen and watch, and just make yourself, comfortable, and they'll come to you. You can't make them tap dance, but people that have sat there have said they've had situations where they've encountered stuff, just sitting and looking down hallways and doing stuff. And Sue said, come to us. I did this, told somebody earlier, and I love doing it. In fact, Chris already encountered something today, when we're here too. It's like, if you have an experience, not tell me your Sue, but don't tell me where it was. Maybe tell me what your experience was, and let me see if I can tell you where you were. I'm not psychic at all. I'm about as psychic as a clock on the wall. Okay, so that's sensitive. But yeah, so just let us see if we can tell you where it was, because the numerous things that happened continuously in certain spots in this building, and I could probably tell you where you might have been when that happened. And it happens quite often. So don't be afraid to ask. And if we never had that experience, I can tell you. Because I've been involved. I coached hockey for 30 years, and I always used to tell the parents, don't ask them what your kid's like if you don't want to know the truth. And the same thing here. If you come out and show me a picture of an orb, I'll probably tell you it's dust, water falling, something other than what you want me to tell you. So don't show those to me. Make yourself feel better. And but if you do have something that's that's really cool that I've blown up 3,000 times, let me see it. See if I can figure out what it was and what happened. You guys have a good time tonight. Chris had a couple experiences already with you today. One was right off the bat, and he was just about to walk up here, and had it happen, and it was identically the same as with, there was a little girl, a 7-year-old girl who used to live down the street down here, and she had continuous experiences at home, and she used to tell us, we put Christmas lights up here one day, and she told her mom, and they were gone for the weekend, and she said, Mom, my friend likes it over at Ashmore now because they put Christmas lights up and she can see better. She called me and said, did you guys put Christmas lights over the weekend? We were gone. I'm like, wow. Yeah, we did. And so I actually had a light set up on a timer in one of the rooms in here. So the light would kick on at night, and turn on the just keep on plugging it. So they asked them why it's set up like that. They unplug it. But the little girl loved having the lights on at night so she could see them. And we think that was Elva because that's what she told us down here. She described Elva died in the original building from damage done in the fire, but I think she was intelligent spirit that traveled. Came back to this location. Who's going to let the grounds?
One other thing I did forget to mention is one of the stuff we still talk about almost a year later, but on the 3rd floor, when you go up there, you will see a room that has a memorial in it. Sadly, last year, not in August, one of our caretakers, former caretakers and tour guide, was killed in a car accident. And we took a room upstairs that her sister told us was one of her favorite rooms in the building. We turned it into a memorial. There is a light in her room that we ask you to leave on. It's not a real bright light. It does not affect the quality of your investigation. We just ask you to leave that on because that is very critical.
Feel free to go in there and see if you can talk to her. Yeah. Because we've had other people that had experiences trying to talk to Hannah because she loved this place. And so we did a little memorial thing outside with the trees and what brick board and everything. So yeah, feel free to sit there and try to talk to Hannah. It'd be kind of interesting because Chris doesn't know he doesn't know Hannah whatsoever. Hannah, who's the girl that died. So he doesn't know her at all. So if she comes through to him and like that upstairs and mention the city because he's never met her. He doesn't know her. He's never been in the building. I think you've been down the hall. I've been down the hall. Yeah, he just came up here, set stuff down, and then left for out for dinner. So, it's been the building at all.
What would you guys suggest for tonight? Because we have 40 people here. Should we break it into groups of 10 or groups of 20?
We've never had a problem with larger groups. I mean, it's always because Nick Rock had 95 people in their first year. He had 36 on each floor, and he caught EVPs on the 3rd floor, and God damn it, get out. So
yeah, I like to keep it smaller, and I think everybody agrees there's not as much distraction or noise. So, do you guys want to break down into groups of 10 or groups of 20?
10.
Okay, good. I let them speak. So what would you suggest, we'll break down in a few minutes here into groups of 10. And then we have, what, 4 or 5 different locations that they can go to? So we have each one go to a different location.
Yeah, or floor.
All right, so let's talk about each location. So we have this floor, what do we call this floor? Second floor, okay. And then you have the third floor, second floor, third floor, what else?
First floor where you came in.
Okay, first, second, third.
And then down the hallway, past that door that's closed right now, which we will open for you. If you go to the only door to your left, that will lead you down into the basement, which is the one.
Ooh, I know.
So we've got the basement boiler room, we have first,
We have the first, second, third basement.
It's all right, basement's the air conditioning.
Always the best case scenario. Nobody ever investigates the warehouse.
Oh, well, I guess we know where all the women are going.
This is what we'll do, is we're gonna have 4 groups of 10, and we have 5 locations, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, let's do the 4 groups, we'll hit the 4 main locations. The 5th location is gonna be outside. That can be, if any of you are on location 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you wanna branch away to go to location 5, then go to location 5 on your own, and then just return back to your group, you understand? You think that'd be good? Or should we just rotate? Because we've got,
Yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to go outside and investigate.
we've got,
Yeah.
so what time is it, about 8:30 now, we do 15 minutes at each location, 10 minutes to go to the next location. So we've got 8:30 to 9:30. Whatever it is. Let's just do, no, we'll just go to different locations. So we'll break down to 4 groups. We'll go to all 5 locations throughout the night, 50 minutes each one. Here's the bonus. We have this place until what time? 7 in the morning? 10. This event's going to end around 1:32, but
Yes.
whoever wants to stay and investigate the rest of the morning, the rest of the night, you can do that. So after 1:30, whoever wants to stay, go to any one of these 5 locations, you can do that all the way till 10 o'clock in the morning. All right? You don't always get to do that at locations you go to. When it's over, it's over. I know I'm sleeping in the one bungalow, so leave me the hell alone.
Oh, we know where to go.
Because I'll be going to sleep around 2. But then some of the other people here are staying in the bungalows as well. So that's cool. If you guys can make it past the 1:30 and you want to do your own private investigating, that's what you're going to do.
So in your groups, you're gonna do like A, B, C, and D.
So throwing the alphabet in there when I'm talking about numbers, huh, Don? For Don, we'll do A, B, C, and D.
Well, because, A's on the first floor, then you do the second floor, and then you do the third
Just
floor.
like 1, 2, and 3. Don always gives me shit. He wants to change rules. I know Don for years. He married some other places.
Yeah, you had him touch the door.
Yeah, way to go.
I told her about door 13,
13.
Uh,
All right. So, hey, Robin, is there a cemetery?
Yeah.
Where's Robin?
I don't remember. Yes. Makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay, the other thing I want to mention, guys, is the bathrooms are downstairs, okay? If you ever need to use the bathroom, just ask, or just go downstairs, you'll find it. Also, there's a refrigerator there. I brought 3 cases of 36-inch case with plenty of water. Feel free to grab a bottle of water if you're thirsty, because you're going to get thirsty because of the heat, all right? So grab a bottle of water anytime you want, just make sure you dispose of it correctly. I don't know, where do we throw away the bottles? She just went downstairs.
There is a garbage can downstairs.
Okay, and there's one garbage can right there when you walk in, so just throw away the garbage can. But please, anytime.
Throw away the garbage
grab a
can.
bottle of water.
Throw away the garbage can in the bottle.
Cemeteries are,
Okay, there's no cemetery around here. All right, so we've got 4 locations for 1, 2, 3, and then the boiler basement, and then number 5 is outside. We will rotate each location throughout the night. 50 minutes each location. We will yell out, change, and then we'll be changeable. I'm going to bounce around to some of the groups. Alex is going to bounce around to some of the groups. And a couple of groups are going to be on your own. He's got a loudspeaker. We'll yell when it's a change. We'll set our clocks.
If for any reason we have an emergency, I do have a loudspeaker with a siren on it. If you do hear that siren burning, please meet outside where the tables are. Okay. Other than that, just ask for you to be careful. Always try to stay as a buddy team. All right, no wander off by yourselves for safety.
And if you guys are going to do an EVP session, just say, I'm doing an EVP session. That means everybody else in the group just kind of try not to whisper or whatever. And if you're going to do an EVP session, just do it for 10, 15 minutes so other people can do it all as well. Try to keep it down. But if you have something happen, feel free to scream and yell, whatever. I mean, that's a normal reaction. Okay? Plus, we'll be like, oh my God. It'll be cool. What I'll do is I'll do some mediumship through the night. If I experience anything that's around, I'll tell you guys. But then I'm also going to use a few pieces of equipment just real quickly. You all know that I've investigated before. I'm using my digital recorder, so I'll do some EVP sessions. That's usually what I start off with. I'll ask questions, and if you guys ask questions, we'll play it back, see if there's any response. The other thing is I've got this, I've only used this once before. I just got, Gary just did a new device that will work with the Spirit Box, the ANC. What the ANC does, it's got a nice little screen that you see it going, but it removes some of the sweeping sound. So we will try this, see if we get any clear responses. The other thing is some of these great responses I've been getting are some of these apps. And you guys that know when we were at Old Paulding Jail, that necrophonic app and some of the other stuff manufactures growth. The responses are phenomenal. I just used the app on Ghost Adventures, and we were getting some crazy stuff. So feel free to use your apps. I know I'm going to use my app as well. And guys, feel free to film, like Megan's filming, Andy's filming. Film at any time, all right? Because we want to capture whatever we can of some of these interactions. The other thing that I'll probably use too is I do like to use the obelisk, pick up any placeholder or thought projection from anything in the room, using random generator of any words that will pop up, as well as the phonetic mode, which will turn into speech. I do have an SLS camera. Does anybody else have an SLS camera? You do too. Excellent. All right. So Jim's got an SLS we'll be using. Feel free to kind of gather around some of the people using the equipment. Okay, you're not intruding. That's why we're here. We're here to learn from one another. We're here to share some of the equipment and the experience. That's what's really important. That's why it's paranormal access. We want to get access to see what everybody's doing as well as doing our own things. All right? The other thing that I brought with me, I got a REM pod that I was set up also. I like to use these glow flashlights, and a lot of technicians, electricians use these things. I've been using them all the time investigating. It's better than carrying a flashlight. You just put it on your hand, you pop this on, and it's better than
It's a party hardy. Party hardy.
And you got a little flashlight. So it's great. You can wear it on your hand, and that way I can just do this. So I'll be using that as well. You can get these on eBay, Amazon, any website.
They're dirt cheap. Yeah.
Holy water in case somebody gets possessed.
Well,
You never know.
hey, that'll be our cool off.
I've got a couple other things here I might break out to test as well.
At any time anybody needs a break, right next to the screen, there's a break room. All right, you want to go down there, cool off, feel free to do so. All right.
And then feel free to come in here by the fans too. I'll probably move that fan so we're not tripping over it. It's like feel free to sit for a fan. It should cool off later tonight about 8 rises. So, anybody have any questions? Anyone? Feel free. Any question? There's no stupid question. Yes.
Okay, you did say no Ouija boards.
No Ouija boards. Yeah, no Ouija boards.
Pendulums themselves?
Yeah, they use a pendulum. Absolutely. Yeah, if he has to, can we use a pendulum? Feel free to use a pendulum. Dowsing rods. Just no Ouija board. We don't want to open any portals or bring something in here that's not supposed to be. And this is Alex. This is Jerry. This is my friend Jerry. His name's Alex. Alex, talk about what you do.
I've been blessed to work with Chris. I met Chris at the Casa Madrid with Paranormal Cops. I actually do the paranormal tour in Naperville. It's a walk-in tour with Kevin France. the lead investigator there, and also have my own tour, it's a Chicago Haunted Gangster tour that I do. So I've been doing the paranormal thing for a long time. Got started with Richard Crowe, to one of his tours. I was a police officer for many years, I was in the Navy for many years. In those fields, I had paranormal experiences. One of them was on U-505. We did a ceremony. My commanding officer's dad wrote a book about it. So we did a color guard ceremony. We actually got to stay aboard U-505, where I had an experience. Also had an experience at Great Lakes Naval Base at Ship 13. All right, and while I was at the police force, I also had experiences. So been around it. Grew up in a haunted house, so just fascinated with it. That's a little bit about me. You ever have any questions? You want to look at stuff? Yes, sir.
You read in Excalibur?
No, I have not.
I had.
Here, that's,
Yeah, we did Dead Famous, we went there, for Nat King Cole, Dead Famous, you'll find it. Cup went flying off the shelf. And I caught some EVPs that they didn't use. In one story, Gail, there was nobody in the building, just us. And Gail went to go use the restroom, she comes out like her face was white. She's just like, what happened? She's like, come with me now. She's freaking out. She was in the bathroom stall, there's all these stalls, and she hears someone crying, whimpering. And she thought it was our director. She's like, because it sounded like it. She's like, Maria, are you okay? Maria, what's wrong? So she gets out of the stall, walks to the other side, nobody in there. She freaks out and is racing out. So we all go in there, but didn't experience anything. The director was filming me, and I started getting this like dark gothic spirit. And she said that she would feed off of people, get them to do drugs, or if they were doing drugs, she'd make them do more drugs. She would feel the high from them. She'd kind of walk in and feel that high, and then she'd get out, and the person would collapse if they would take too much. And she would get off on that. I said, that's not nice. I don't believe you can do that. You would try to enter into me, take me over. All of a sudden, the director goes, Chris, and what? She started getting the voice in her head, she collapsed. And she screams at all these voices in her head, and she races out of it. Now, she almost cut her arm, so I knew she wasn't messing up. And she went backwards on the chairs and everything, was just like out of it. And then talking this gibberish, and then we removed her. She was afraid to go back into her. So that's some of the stuff that we experienced. There you go. There you go. Well, Ethan, there's mixed stories on whether they have bodies that are missing.
Yeah, also it was at Hartwell Studios, what building the armory was there, but also right there at the river, the building that's across the street there, mainly that building was used right away as a staging area, and from there they moved to the Hartwell Studios, and it's debating whether or not someone to the place, but they may have because they had some services for the family there. A lot of the funeral homes and stuff open the doors. They have services in different locations in Chicago, so that could be one place.
That's really cool.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, and I know that because now it's taboo. What's it called? Taboo? No, what's it called now? I forgot. It's a restaurant. The same thing they have in Vegas. And I've been there, and I remember asking some of the workers there, and they're like, oh my God, you gotta talk to our managers, because they had a lot of crazy stuff happening when they renovated. We put millions of dollars into that place now, it's like a restaurant club. And it's pretty amazing the way it looks. It's like something out of Vegas. But they've had stuff still happen in that place. I'd like to be in there now.
Good point you brought that out. Speaking about renovations, a lot of you don't know already, when the place gets renovated, a lot of activity gets stirred up because it confuses the spirits. So because this place has been renovated, okay, chances are you're going to get taken the spirit movie. So cross your fingers.
Alice and I did, when did we do that monster gangster tour in Chicago? Because I joined them in one of that, we did like a paranormal access event. We had a bus.
In the bus?
Yeah,
yes.
we did this.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
fun.
we went to
Al Capone's grave.
Al Capone's grave.
St. Valentine's Day Massacre. What else did we go?
The Plus restaurant.
Plus restaurant.
Well, that was a different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that again in October or something if I'm around. We'll do that monster tour to you guys.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of cool, because he's great with the history, so he's talking about all the history. And at the St. Valentine's Day, even though it's a new parking lot and it's new bricks of what's there, we caught, I said, take us back to that time and it sounded like people were saying, oh my God, they've been shot on the recorder. Then we started hearing these sirens, like these old sirens that were on the EVP. Kind of like when that event happened, they called the police or they called the ambulance, whatever. And that was what was on the EVP. So we had a great time doing that.
Do you remember that old woman came up here at the fence? You were showing us.
The cemetery?
No, at the,
St. Constance in this?
yes, yeah. And this old woman came by. She was not able to make it. But, and then she started talking about it.
Oh yeah, it was really weird. Do you remember that?
It was the
It's as if she was like possessed or
Yeah.
just had a psychological disorder.
Yeah.
And she started talking like as if she was from that time period. That was weird.
Exactly.
That was weird. Okay. All right. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
No, I want to tell the stories for like 20 minutes.
No.